the bittersweet departure of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who left this material world on November 14, 1977, which is about 27 years ago. Anyway, so this morning we're going to chant the prayer to the departed Vaishnavas. This evening, of course, we're also going to be chanting the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas. And this evening, the devotees will get a chance to make their offerings to Srila Prabhupada, their appreciations to Srila Prabhupada. And, of course, there'll be a full program, another Pushpanjali, an arti for Srila Prabhupada this evening, beginning, I believe, at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. So there'll be quite a few people, and there'll be a feast tonight. And Apurva is going to make special preparations for Srila Prabhupada at noon. Some sort of khichdi or something like that. What's the preparation you make at noon? What is a special khichdi or something like that? No, kachori. You make kachori? Oh, kachori. Okay. So he'll make Prabhupada's special preparation at noon. Shukta. Okay, very nice. Okay, so first we'll chant the prayers, and this morning we're going to read from, primarily this morning's class, we're going to read from the reminiscences, the memories of many devotees, well, actually 2 or 3 devotees who were around Srila Prabhupada when he left this world, so we can get an idea of the mood of intense separation the devotees were feeling from Srila Prabhupada and the love that Srila Prabhupada was bringing out from the devotees by apparently getting well sometimes and then deciding to leave. And anyway, we'll hear about these pastimes with His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. As we know, the departure of the pure devotee and the appearance of the pure devotee are transcendental. As Krishna states about himself in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yo Veti Tatvataha Chaktva Deham Purna Janma Naiti Mam Eti Surjana, that someone who understands Krishna's appearances and disappearance being transcendental, then he will not have to take birth again in this mature world. So we should appreciate that this departure of this world pastime is transcendental, completely transcendental. If we meditate on that, then keep it some distance away, keep it there. Then if we meditate on that, then we can actually transcend this material world and ultimately go back to home, back to Godhead. And of course, we do know that Krishna says that one who worships his devotee is actually his devotee, not simply one who worships Krishna and not his devotee. And of course, Lord Shiva states, Aradhanam sarvesham, Vishnu aradhanam param, tasmat parataram devi, tvadiyanam samarchanam. That of all types of worship of Vishnu is supreme, and even better than worship of Vishnu is the worship of Vishnu's devotees, the pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And actually, I was listening to a class Srila Prabhupada was giving this morning, where he said, basically, commenting on the Sanskrit of the words Atma Ruchi. That means having a taste for the soul or the super soul. Of course, Prabhupada defined that in various ways. But he says one can achieve this taste for Krishna consciousness by sadhusanga, sarvasastrakari, by associating and hearing about and worshiping the devotees, like Narada Muni did in his previous birth. And so if we take advantage on this particular day to associate with Srila Prabhupada by hearing about his departure and understanding the lesson that we can get from this departure and understanding how we should act in terms of determination to fulfill his mission, then we can actually achieve the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So first we'll chant the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas. Yehane lo prema dana korana prachur Hey no Prabhu Kocha Gela Gora Acharya Naktakur Hey no Prabhu Kocha Gela Acharya Takur Kahamura Swarup Rupa Kahasana Chakan Kakadasa Raghunatha Patita Bhagavan Kahamura Pacha Jugar Kagavira Ekakale Kotage Lagora Natara Pashane Kutivo Mata Anale Vashibo Goranga Gune Ranere Kotakele Pabo Say Sabah Sangira Sange Ye Koila Vilas Say Sangana Ayakande Naro Champas Jayanhi no prema dana Koruna Prachur Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Paravakacharya, also Teta Satashi, Shimad. His Divine Grace, Abhaya Chanana Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Hridas Thakur Ki Jai. Friends, say Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Sidwaita Gadadha, Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath, Sayama Kunda, Radha Kunda, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Maturadam Ki Jai, Jagadava Sami Ki Jai, Yamunamaya Ki Jai, Shimani Lasidevi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda. Hari Hari Bol, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Namah Vishnu Pillai, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani, Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharne Nivishesha, Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarani. So I'm going to read the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who is filled with compassion and mercy, where is such a personality? As Srinivasa Charyagan, where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. And so that intense mood of separation from Srila Prabhupada will bring us closer to Srila Prabhupada, because remembrances of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada's deity form, pictures of Srila Prabhupada are all manifestations of Srila Prabhupada. So it's very important to understand this Krishna consciousness movement, as Prabhupada insisted, is the founder, Acharya of the Krishna conscious movement, is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada insisted on that particular title because that is what will connect us to Krishna, understanding that our connection to Krishna, all of us, regardless of whether we're disciples, grand disciples, great-grand disciples, are connected to Krishna through the mercy of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So, Srila Prabhupada left this world, as I mentioned before, on November 14th, 1977, and he was surrounded by loving disciples who were feeling this great pain and love for Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada acted in such a way to bring out that love even more and teach us what's considered to be the final lesson of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So, Prabhupada actually wanted all of his disciples present during those final moments. And that information was not actually conveyed by the GBC. Prabhupada actually told the GBC members he wanted everyone there. And they said, what will happen to the temple? You know, everything will stop. And Prabhupada indicated that's okay at that particular time, because this had higher priority. As we mentioned, worship of Krishna's devotees is better than worship, or higher than worship of Krishna. And if one worships the deity and doesn't properly respect the Vaishnava, then his worship of the deity is considered to be like offering oblations unto ashes, or oblations with ashes, according to Lord Kapila Dev. So we have to understand that this pastime is so important that Prabhupada wanted every single one of his disciples with him at this particular point. So we're going to read First of all, we're going to read from Tamal Krishna Maharaj's diary, final moments of Srila Prabhupada's departure, beginning with November 11th, 1977. Some of the stories between Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Bhakti Chu Maharaj's Ocean of Mercy will be similar, but from different angles of vision. So I thought it's very important to see different angles of vision of different Vaishnavas as they were assisting Srila Prabhupada and getting the mercy of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So, reading from TKG's diary on November 11th, 1977. Early in the morning, Srila Prabhupada talked with Bhavananda Maharaj about Mayapur. Later, he spoke with Giriraj about Bombay. Srila Prabhupada then called for me, and this is Tamal Krishna Maharaj speaking, saying, I am not getting strength. Even to lift my leg, I need help. Practically, my left leg is not working. What should be done now, you consider? I called for the Kaviraj, who said that milk would be beneficial, but not dahi yogurt. He had gone to Delhi yesterday and met with Sri Ram Duchi, whom he considered the topmost Kaviraj in India, and just like his guru. Ram Duchi, a specialist in Ayurvedic heart and kidney treatments, said that Srila Prabhupada's disease could definitely be cured, and that the most immediate necessity was to increase his strength. For that purpose, milk was very important. Prabhupada was told that the Kaviraj would give medicine to control the cough and the passing of stool. The Kaviraj said that he was not afraid of the disease, rather of Prabhupada's weakness. The Kaviraj said, you give me your cooperation for 1 week and I will cure you. If you follow the medicine for 15 days, you can go to Mayapur. Prabhupada said, so this is all part of Krishna's plan to give the devotees hope, to bring the devotees closer to Srila Prabhupada. Much like when Krishna was leaving Vrindavan, and then the gopis lay on the path before the chariot, thinking that they were going to stop Krishna from going to Vrindavan. And this further drew out the emotions of the gopis. Prabhupada said that he had very little space in his stomach, and as soon as he ate or drank a little bit, he filled up. The Kaviraj replied that it was better to give a little bit many times. Jayapataka Maharaj said, why don't you give us the chance to serve you? Prabhupada said, I give you the chance, but you go away. So Prabhupada's indicating, you're not attentive enough. You can sit down for 24 hours and chant, but I think otherwise. I think you are thinking of me as infectious. Therefore, you avoid. Jayapataka Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada, you have told us to go to Mayapur and make 50,000 devotees and distribute 100,000 pieces of literature months. So sometimes we go there to do this, and then we come back. Prabhupada said, no, while you were here, you were also not coming. This conversation had a very sobering effect on many of the devotees who were here, but not staying in Srila Prabhupada's room. Now there was a noticeable increase as devotees spent more and more of their time with Srila Prabhupada. In other words, Prabhupada was given the indication. The devotees should all be with him, basically 24/7. Jayapataka Maharaj reported that in Gaya they auctioned off a house where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rested. A Shankaracharya brought it. The Vaishnava community was very upset and wanted us to do something. Prabhupada said, this is a good idea. We can have a center in Gaya. Jayapataka said he would send someone to investigate the matter. I asked Srila Prabhupada whether Lord Jagannath should have feet and hands made for him and be worshipped in that way as in Jagannath Puri. Prabhupada answered, yes, why not? Lokanath Maharaj arrived and gave a report on book distribution in Uttar Pradesh. He had gone to Badrinath, to show Prabhupada's translation of the Srimad Bhagavatam to Srila Vyasadeva. He had visited Bhim Kapoor, where Bhim left his body. He stated that in Badrinarayana, everyone was leaving because of the excessive cold, including the Pujaris. I asked Prabhupada if this was proper. Prabhupada said, what can be done? I suggested that Lokanath Maharaj chant, but Srila Prabhupada said he must be tired. Lokanath Maharaj, however, said that he had come a great distance to see Srila Prabhupada to chant for him, so Prabhupada said, then begin chanting. After Lokanath had led the kirtan and then left, Srila Prabhupada called him to return. Srila Prabhupada said, Lokanath, I want to discuss something very important with you. What time is convenient? 4 o'clock was set as the time to meet, but shortly thereafter, Srila Prabhupada called for Jaipataka Maharaj and Bhavananda Maharaj and said, Jaipataka, Bhavananda, so you all manage. I've done everything for a dying man to do. All papers are signed. It's not good. All you big managers are just bound here, and I am lying. I wish you to manage very nicely as if I were dead. And then let me travel to all the tirthasthanas without responsibility. And if I die, what is that? They can bring the dead body to Mayapur or Vrindavan. A little medicine, no medicine. A little milk can travel one place to another. If there is death, what is a lamentation? An open air, bullock cart during daytime. Or you can say civil suicide. Although living, consider me dead for the time being. You manage. And nowadays in India there is sunshine. During the daytime I shall travel, and at nighttime make a camp under a tree. So you hear what Prabhupada was envisioning doing. Traveling in a bullock cart and camping out every night. In this way, let me travel to all the tirthasthanas. I am thinking in this way. What are your opinions? Bhavananda Maharaj said, we will manage. Prabhupada said, you are managing. I know. But you are all local men. You are bound up and you cannot go. Lokanath's party has some experience. In India, the climate is good. If I recover, very good. If not, what is wrong? And if I live, it will be a great thing, another life. You are all experienced. What is the use of lying down here? Jaipataka Maharaj said, the Kaviraj said, your body has 6 years of life left. Even a healthy cow lying in one place will become ill. Prabhupada said, therefore I say, don't keep me locked up. You keep me free. They have got experience in India. You can go village to village. It has to be settled. I am no longer. You manage. If I live, I shall come again. Trivikram Maharaj said, previously there was some risk. Prabhupada said, what is the risk? This is my proposal. Jaipataka Maharaj said, that will be after you have gained some strength. Prabhupada said, yes, free air and some change, and I can come back later. Jaipataka Maharaj said, will you be translating? Prabhupada said, no. Bhavananda Maharaj said, I think it is a good idea, but you should not take unnecessary risk. Prabhupada said, no. When I'm okay, I shall come back to Mayapur, Vrindavan, or Bombay, or anywhere. Jaipataka Maharaj asks, would you travel by bus? Prabhupada said, you think that you think over. Bhavananda Maharaj said, we will all think over the arrangements. Prabhupada said, you have tried doctors, Kaviraj, medicine, everything has failed. Now supposing I am taking risk of death, what is wrong? Whether I'm dead, if you go in India and bring the body either to Mayapur or Vrindavan, Mayapur, the land is already there. Vrindavan, I think you have gate sight. Whatever you like, you do. Jaipataka Maharaj said, Thakur Bhakti Vinod, he said it was not proper near the gate. Prabhupada said, no, there's ample room. Or Mayapur, that is very nice. Jaipataka Maharaj said, Prabhupada, you are getting stronger. Look how you were talking. The Kaviraj is sure that by taking a little milk. Prabhupada said, I'll take milk. Milk is available everywhere. I shall take a little milk and sleep. If I live, that's all right. If I don't, that's all right. Bhavananda Maharaj said, very nice program. We can all accompany you. Prabhupada said, not many, very many. You can go and come back. Jaipataka Maharaj asks, which holy places? Prabhupada says, India is full of holy places. Gradually we will go to Mayapur. Is Tamal here? Jaipataka Maharaj says, yes, he has heard everything. While you're going to the holy places, you will purify all the holy places. Prabhupada said, there are two things, life or death. If I die, what is wrong? And if there is death, that is natural. Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, for us, it is very unfortunate. Prabhupada said, live by my words, by my training. So you like that idea? Hansaduta Maharaj says, I like it. Prabhupada said, in most cases, you beg from the local places and subsist, otherwise purchase. Jaipataka Maharaj says, You are very famous. Wherever you go, there will be crowds of people. Prabhupada said, so they'll be seeing me. I have no objection. I want a little milk from them, that is all. So for my presence required for management, I think I have bequeathed properly. You can manage. It is to be admitted failure. So-called medicine treatments are all failures. Jayapataka Maharaj says, all the doctors say you defy all medical laws. Sometimes you become very weak and sometimes very strong. Giriraj said, I think parikrama is a good idea because I don't have faith in the doctors or treatments. Ultimately, it depends on Krishna. He can exercise his will in any condition. Prabhupada said, so seriously consider this submission and let me go. So there's a whole discussion. I'm going to go ahead on this because I want to read from the other book too. And a whole discussion of whether or not Prabhupada should go. And devotees are thinking, Prabhupada's going to pass away, and they're getting an anxiety. So this whole conversation was arranged by Srila Prabhupada to put the devotees in anxiety so that they could think more about Srila Prabhupada, meditate, and be worried. Prabhupada wanted the devotees to be worried about him so that they could meditate on him. He was drawing out his love. So going to November 12th, Prabhupada was also thinking about Parikma, and Lokanath Maharaj, I'm just going to summarize, went to town and get a bullock cart, and Prabhupada asked, you've got an all-India chart, and Prabhupada was planning this whole tour around India. And he has some discussion with Lokanath Maharaj. It's quite a bit here. So the rest of the day, at the end of this whole discussion, the rest of the day passed, Prabhupada taking rest most of the time, and devotees always performing kirtan. In the evening, Prabhupada talked a long time with Sarup Damodar. Around 11:30, he complained of pain in his left thigh, the same leg which has had us keep elevated on a pillow for so many weeks now. And then there's some discussion of what Prabhupada took. So November 13th, at 1:30 a.m., Prabhupada had severe pain in his left leg. After some time, it subsided and it resumed at 3 a.m. With our help, Prabhupada was moving himself from one side to another. Wanting us to apply heat to his thigh, he asked for a cold stove on which to heat salt compresses. In the meantime, he asked for Day's or Sloane's liniment. We found Sloane's and I rubbed it on, but this did not bring sufficient relief. Prabhupada was moaning from the pain. The devotees had stopped kirtan and were surrounding his bed. The Kaviraj was also present. It was concluded that rubbing witch hazel had produced too much coldness. Prabhupada said, Upendra wants to give cold to get rid of cold. As the liniment was not effective, I applied a heating lamp, moving it back and forth along Prabhupada's thigh. This action brought relief, and Prabhupada became calmer. Before the lamp, we had also used hot water bottles. Now a hot plate had been located on which Upendra heated 2 salt poultices and alternatively applied them to Prabhupada's leg. Gradually the pain subsided and Srila Prabhupada could rest again. During the pain, Prabhupada had thrown off his blankets. We were all praying that this painful attack would not again assault our spiritual master, but again and again it came at 6 a.m., 9 a.m., noon, and 3 p.m. I was very sorry to see this trauma because it did not bode well. Prabhupada was most sensitive, and we were worried that if these painful attacks continued, he would not be willing to remain with us any longer. And then there's some discussion of what Prabhupada drank and Prabhupada passed. In the evening, as we had planned previously, Ban Maharaj and Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj visited. Prabhupada asked me to bring the Russian diploma given to the BBT at the Moscow Book Fair. Then I showed various photographs of deities and temples around the world, just as Prabhupada would do when important people would come. Ban Maharaj was very much praising Prabhupada's work, and afterwards said how wonderful it was that Srila Prabhupada was in such perfect consciousness. Prabhupada also discussed with Ban Maharaj his desire for a Tirthi Yatra. Srila Prabhupada also spoke with Bhagatji, and at the end quoted from the Bhagavad Gita, Bhokaishvarya Pashaktanam, that's famous for Taya Prita Chetasnam, Vyavasyatmaya Buddhir, Samado Navatiyate. So the final day, November 14th. Today the attacks continued in regular 3 half-hour intervals. Prabhupada was in deep consciousness, not external. The Kaviraj came frequently, but Prabhupada took medicine only with great efforts on behalf of Bhakti Chur Maharaj. When the attacks came again, Prabhupada moved his right arm back and forth gracefully in the air, but we could not properly understand him. Although we all wanted to help him, we felt we could not. The Kaviraj confirmed that Prabhupada's condition was very serious. No entry was made in the medical journal because Prabhupada had not passed any urine, although there must have been urine in the body. We all could understand that the end was approaching. Thus the room was packed with devotees and chanting was continuous. The Kaviraj suggested inserting a catheter to empty his bladder of urine. The GBC members present deliberated and decided that we would not permit catheterization, since Prabhupada had not appreciated Tirtha Maharaj expiring with tubes in his body. Besides, catheterization would have prolonged his presence only a short while, and we could now only sense that as our beloved Srila Prabhupada wished to return back to home, back to Godhead. We tried everything and it failed. Thus we informed the Kaviraj of our decision, and we agreed and understood, and he agreed, because he himself was a devotee. By now we had all returned to Prabhupada's room, and surrounding him and sitting on his bed, Upendra, Swarup Damodar, Sachadanya Maharaj, Bhavananda Maharaj, Hansaduta Maharaj, and I, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, with other devotees, both men and women present. Bhishma came in and asked, Prabhupada, have you eaten something? Prabhupada did not respond, even though she asked again and again. She placed Ganges water in Prabhupada's mouth. We had placed Tulsi leaves and Yamuna water by Prabhupada's head. Prabhupada's godbrothers arrived. I had set up benches on each side of the bed for them, Ban Maharaj, Krishnadas Babaji, Ananda Prabhu, and his god-nephew, Narayana Maharaj. They all sat and watched intently, observing Srila Prabhupada's consciousness. Narayan Maharaj spoke in Srila Prabhupada's ear, but there was no response. But when Bhakti Chur Maharaj spoke to Prabhupada's ear, telling him that Narayan Maharaj and others were present, Prabhupada slowly raised his left hand to his head in salutation and started crying. Prabhupada's godbrothers explained that Prabhupada's attacks were simply the moving of airs in the body, not actual pain. They said that Prabhupada was in perfect consciousness, and they did not feel the time had yet come for his departure. After 2 or 3 hours, they left, promising to come immediately whenever we called. The Kaviraj, however, said Prabhupada had only 2 or 3 hours left. Already we had informed ISKCON around the world. Pujaris brought Tulsi flower garlands from Krishna Balaram and placed them on the pillow around Prabhupada's head. Understanding that the end was near, we chanted and prayed, and there be nothing else to do. When the last attack came at 3 p.m., Prabhupada rubbed his hands quickly back and forth across his heart. Upendra also massaged his heart while I sat holding his lotus feet. For 4 hours, Prabhupada was very peaceful. At 7:25 p.m., Prabhupada opened his eyes, which were very clear, more so than at many, many months. His mouth opened, his tongue moved, and then he became still. The Kaviraj took Prabhupada's pulse and held a cotton swab to his nostril, detecting no movement of air. Our beloved Srila Prabhupada had departed, surrounded by his loving disciples who were chanting the holy name of Krishna, lying very peaceful in bed in Vrindavanam, the holy land of Krishna's birth, his head directed toward the deities of Krishna Balaram, surrounded by photos of all the deities, and his Guru Maharaj, decorated with chandana and a big Tulsi leaf on his forehead, and holding Tulsi in his right hand, he departed and returned to the lotus feet of Krishna from whence he came. So, of course, after this time, they took Prabhupada's transcendental body on parikrama to the 7 major temples of Vrindavan, and they performed the Samadhi ceremony for His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. And, of course, I wanted to read Bhakti Chur Maharaj. We hardly have any time left. So, one interesting thing about Bhakti Chur Maharaj is putting Srila Prabhupada in Samadhi is that Bhakti Chur Maharaj was feeling so much separation from Srila Prabhupada when they put Prabhupada's transcendental body into the pit in the ground. Bhakti Chur Maharaj went there to help perform the final rites. But Bhakti Chur Maharaj actually refused to get up. He actually just said, he actually wanted to stay down there with Srila Prabhupada. He couldn't bear the separation. So much love he has for Srila Prabhupada. So finally, the devotees, I think it was Tamal Krishna Maharaj, brought him out of the pit. So now, we'll read a little bit from Bhakti Dhruva Maharaj's Ocean of Mercy book, and devotees get a chance, they can read these books. Ocean of Mercy is available for free on the internet. If anyone, you can download a PDF for free to read this book, and it's an amazing book. So, let's continue reading. I just hardly have any time. So there's also the discussion about going on parikrama, which is very, very similar. So, there was some discussion when Narayan Maharaj and Ramakrishna Babaji had come to see Prabhupada. They wanted to ask Prabhupada about his successor, and they wanted to talk privately, but Bhakti Dhruva Maharaj left the recorder on. So he said, had asked Prabhupada about who would be his successor, and he had told them he was not going to appoint anyone. He was giving the legacy to all of his disciples, all of his followers. A few days later in the evening, several of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers came to see him. As they sat on chairs around his bed, Prabhupada admitted that he'd used strong expressions while preaching. He begged their forgiveness and requested they ask all the other Vaishnavas to forgive him as well. Ban Maharaj, sitting next to Srila Prabhupada's head, told him that he had been in a position that Prabhupada in a position to chastise them, and that there was no offense in his actions. He expressed his appreciation for Prabhupada's achievements in preaching around the world, fulfilling the prediction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tamal Krishna Maharaj told them how Srila Prabhupada's books have been translated into so many languages, and how in Moscow the government had shown its appreciation for the books in a certificate noting their contribution to peace and progress. Everyone listened with rapt attention as Maharaj described how a skyscraper in Manhattan had become a Krishna temple. And then there's some description about Prabhupada's pain there. Right. Then Damodar Prasad Shastri was standing next to me. He said that Prabhupada, let's see. Okay. After the group left, Prabhupada started to experience some pain in his right thigh. He did not usually show his pain. Though he was obviously suffering, he asked me to tie some salt in a piece of cloth, heat it, and press it on the area of his discomfort. The compress brought him some relief, but it was heartbreaking for us to see him in that condition, lying on his bed without saying anything. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Bhavananda, Upendra, and I all went sleepless that night. At around 5 the next morning, right after Mangalarti, Damodar Prasad told me that Srila Prabhupada had not passed urine in 12 hours. If he did not pass urine soon, in about 14 hours he would leave his body. He asked if he should use a catheter. I described the situation to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, who immediately called a meeting of the senior devotees. He told them about Damodar Prasad's report, and also that Prabhupada had emphatically instructed that nothing should penetrate his body, no needles. Everyone agreed that a catheter should not be used. It was clear that Srila Prabhupada was about to leave his body. The doors of his room, which for months had been closed and guarded, were thrown open, and all the devotees streamed in. Those who could not fit stood outside the large windows next to Prabhupada's bed. Everyone was chanting. I was standing by Prabhupada's head. When from time to time he opened his mouth, I would give him a bit of water. Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj came, and we sat him next to Prabhupada's bed, near his head. Bhishma was sitting on the floor next to him. The kirtan went on non-stop for over 12 hours. I lost track of all time and bodily needs. I just stood by Srila Prabhupada's bed, holding the small silver lota, pouring water into his mouth as he opened it from time to time. So much love the devotees had for Srila Prabhupada. At one point, when Srila Prabhupada opened his mouth, and I was about to pour a few drops of water, Babaji Maharaj commented, "See, he is still chanting." Though Prabhupada was not making any sound, I could see his tongue vibrating in rhythm. Then Damodar Prasad Shastri, who was standing next to me, said that Prabhupada had left his body. I could not accept that, so I said, "Please check him carefully." He took a small piece of cotton cloth and placed it in front of Prabhupada's nose. It did not move. I told him to use the stethoscope, and he did, but there was no heartbeat. I was on the verge of breaking down, but Damodar Prasad placed his hand on my back and said, "Please don't cry. He is going back to Godhead. Let him go. Don't cause any hindrance to his journey back to the Lord." Everyone understood what had happened. Pishima was one of the first to react. Tears started to flow from her eyes as if a water pot had broken. Prabhupada was extremely affectionate with his sister, Pishima. Manihara Das was sobbing. I told him what Damodar Prasad had told me. Srila Prabhupada is going back to Godhead. Let us not cause any hindrance to his journey back. The devotees kept chanting. Some left the room. The senior men got together and discussed whether or not to put Prabhupada in Samadhi that night. Then news came from the leading Vaishnavas of Vrindavan that the following morning he should be taken to all the prominent temples in Vrindavan for a final darshan of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada's body was placed on his Vyasasana in the temple room. Narayan Maharaj led the kirtan throughout the night. In the morning, we placed the body on another Vyasasana and carried it in a procession to all Vrindavan's major temples. When the procession returned to the temple, Prabhupada's body was placed next to the burial pit, which had been already dug. Narayan Maharaj guided Tamal Krishna Maharaj and myself in performing all the required rituals, bathing the body and dressing it in new clothes. Narayan Maharaj himself handled the kopina, but he did not wrap it around the groin and tie it at the back. I wonder how Srila Prabhupada could be put into samadhi without the kopina being properly tied, but I did not say anything. Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj and I went to the pit, and Srila Prabhupada's body was lowered in. While it was being lowered, the untied kopina got wrapped around my wrist. I quickly untangled it and tied it around Prabhupada's back. I felt that he was still there, taking care of everything. Narayan Maharaj guided us through the arti and the rest of the ceremony. Then he told us to put salt around the body, and afterwards the devotees began to pour loose soil into the pit. A profound feeling prevailed in my mind. I did not want to leave Srila Prabhupada's side. I wanted to stay and continue serving him in his samadhi. This is what I mentioned before. When Narayan Maharaj climbed up and the devotees began pouring more oil, I still did not move. But Tamal Krishna Maharaj knew what was going through my mind. He just grabbed me by my hand and dragged me out of the holy pit. Srila Prabhupada had entered into Radha Krishna's eternal pastimes. So I'm going to read more memories by Divine Grace Bhakti True Maharaj. The afternoon after placing Srila Prabhupada's body in samadhi, I went into his room, lost in the emptiness of his departure. I couldn't believe he wasn't there. Although he had always taught us that we would all have to leave the material world one day and showed us by his personal example how we should prepare, his absence was difficult to accept. I knelt by Prabhupada's bed and laid my head on his fine woolen chadar folded on his pillow. It still bore his fragrance. Unable to control myself any longer, I broke down and cried as if my heart wanted to escape from its cage. So we can learn from Bhakti True Maharaj's devotion to Srila Prabhupada, but could only melt in a torrent of tears. I just let my agony pour out in sobs. After a while, whether minutes or hours, I had no idea. I felt a hand on my shoulder and looked up. It was Tamal Krishna Maharaj. He did not say a word, but his touch told me that he understood and shared my anguish. Several devotees had gathered in the room, and they were all looking at me, embarrassed I walked out with Maharaj by my side. So, any questions or any points? It's time to greet the deities now. So we can learn from these devotees their mood of intense love for Srila Prabhupada, what it means to be an actual devotee, and how to advance devotional service. So it's important to read these memories. And of course, we also have the Prabhupada Lilamrita, but at least the two books, Bhakti Maharaj's book and Tamal Krishna Maharaj's book, they actually teach us the mood of absolute surrender at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. So any questions or comments? I guess it's time to greet the deity. It's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching. And I, as far as my own memories, of course, unfortunately, the information was not conveyed to me that everyone should be with Srila Prabhupada, so I was in Los Angeles when Srila Prabhupada left this world. And was anyone else in Los Angeles at that time? Here? No. So what happened is that we were expecting the worst, and then after the morning program, Ramaswar arranged for all the temple doors to be locked so we couldn't leave the temple. And then he made this announcement that Srila Prabhupada had left this world, and basically everyone in the temple, there were actually, it appeared to be like hundreds of devotees, collapsed on the ground and started crying. And the whole day, for many days, the devotees were crying, and then the classes were given about Srila Prabhupada's departure. Primarily, the fourth canto was related to us, the fourth canto about Vaidarbhi's lamentation when her husband passed away, and she was, of course, the incarnation of Puranjana, and how that lamentation of that she was experiencing upon the departure of her husband could be equated to the lamentation a disciple experiences upon the departure of his or her spiritual master, and how one should be dedicated to the mission of the spiritual master when the spiritual master passes away, of course, also before the spiritual master passes away. And in this way, Prabhupada comments in his purports, the super soul actually appears before one. In other words, one gets direct guidance from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by being dedicated to the mission of one spiritual master. So, no questions or comments? It is time to greet the deities. Okay. Thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
pasyanti panti kayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadhu jala vigrahasya govindam
Adipurusham Amaham Bhajami
govindam adipurusham namaham bhajami govindam adipurusham namaham bhajami govindam adipurusham namaham bhajami govindam adipurusham namaham bhajami
Govinda.
adipurusham namaham bhajami govindam adipurusham namaham bhajami govindam adipurusham
Namam Vishwaram Sachet Anandurupam Lasak Kunalam Gokure Rajamanam Yasodaveyo Lukala Gavamana Paramrishtalat Jantato Tujagopya Rudantamu Netra Yukmam Rishandam Karambujaju Mena Satankunetram Mohosasakam Patrire Kankat Kanta Sita Grivandam Odaram Bhakti Badam Idrik Swalila Bir Anandakunege Swakosham Nimadjantam Akya Payantam Dade Sitak Geshu Bhakta Titadwa Punat Prematas Tam Shatavritti Vande Varam de Mokshamna Mokshabatim Achangam ring neham va isharabira. Idam teva purnata gopala balam sadame manasya virastam gimanjay. Idam temu kambosyam atyanta nilai ritam kunta laisnigda ratasya gopya. Musyam bitam bimba ratadadame manasya virastam adam lakshalabai. Namo Deva Jammo Ja Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukkha Jalabdi Magnam. Kripa Triste Vristati Jinam Vatatu Grahanesha Mamayam Made Yakshirisha. Uveratma Mada Muchai Vayadva Twayamuchi Tau Bhakti Bhajo Krito Cha. Data prema bhaktim swakam me prayacha no mokshe graho me si damodareha. Namaste stu damne smuradip jidamne twadio darayatha vishvashadamne. Namo Radhikaya Tva Diya Priyaya Namo Nadalilaya Devaya Tubhyam. Namam Shwaram Sachit Anandurupam Lasatkunalam Gokure Brajamanam Yatsonameo Mukha Ladavamanam Paramishnam Ajanta Tojujagoya Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Jaya Radha Kulokanana Radha Kulokanana Radha Jaya Radha Kulokanana Radha Kulokanana Radha Jaya Radha, hey, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Radha, Jaya Radha. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe, Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Paravacharya, also Teta Sajashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Sabaya Chalanand Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharishila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananda Goti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Friends, say Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Mukunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuranam Ki Jai, Jagadasami Ki Jai, Munamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Lasadevi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Now Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddhaya Srimad Bhakti. To the Supreme Controller, who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistening earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and who then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful and his breathing quick, and his mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes. He shivered in fright, and his pearl necklace shook. To the Supreme Lord, Sri Damodar, who is bound by his devotees' love, I offer my humble obeisances. Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drown the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who were attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan and Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you were able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your feature of Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastimes may ever be enacted in my heart. O Lord, the cheeks of your blackish lotus face, which is encircled by locks of curling hair, have become reddened like bimba fruit due to Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly remain in my mind. O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow and am almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy upon me. Uplift me and protect me with your nectarian vision. O Lord Damodar, in your form as a baby, Mother Yashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying calves. You then freed the sons of Kubera, Manigriva, and Alakubara, who were cursed to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in the same way. I have no desire for liberation into your effulgence. O Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma, who was born from your abdomen, which was bound with a rope by Mother Yashoda. To this rope I offer my humble obeisances. I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and to your unlimited pastimes, Lord Damodar ki jai.
Chaitodarpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya kairavya chandrika vitaranam Vidyavadu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam Pradipanam pranamrita swadanam Sarvatma snapanam Param vijayate Shri Krishna sankirtanam Nam namakari bahuda nija sarva shaktis Tatrapita niyamita smaranena kala Etadrishita vakriba bhagavan mamapi Dordaiva midrishami hajjanina nuraga Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi suhishuna Amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari Nadranam najanam nasundarim Kavitam va jagadisha kamaye Mama janmani ishvare Bhavatad bhaktir hoitaki tvai Ainanda tanuja kinkaram Patitam mam vishame bhavam buddha Kripayata vabhada pankaja Stita duli shajashim vachintaya Nayanam galadashu daraya Vadanam gadgadurudaya gira Pulakarnishitam vapukada Tavanamagrahane bhavishyati Yugayatam namishena